Yeah, this is like all like dated speakers.
Oh,
that, and it's not zoned.
right.
So it's I get feedback on it.
Alan?
I'm still laughing about your boy. I was telling Nicole about that today. I'm like, he's just five wheelies and he's staring at us. He's not even looking forward. I was dying.
No awareness.
Oh, he was cracking me up.
He's a character.
Yeah, he is.
You can have him anytime.
Oh, I keep this killing me. I went down to talk to him when they were fishing too.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
We'll trade. I'll give you a movie 15, soon to be 16-year-old boy. Have him for a night.
I have one of those in girl forms.
Yeah. He's pretty good. It's just, oh, yes.
Thank you everyone for being here. I will get started in about 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's 6 o'clock, and I will call our meeting to order. We will start with the pledge of allegiance. Everyone can stand, please.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll take roll call, please.
Ryan Robertson.
Here.
Kevin Key.
Here.
Alan Schneider.
Here.
Tom Sexton.
Here.
Lois Schneider. Here. Chris Brinson.
All right, we've got a quorum, and we'll lead off with approval of the agenda. Any questions or comments on the agenda? Are we gonna need the full resolution kind of thing? or- I believe so. It'll be at this meeting after. The motion to approve the agenda. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, agenda's approved, and first up is our consent agenda. Any questions or comments on that?
Should the minutes be corrected for the appointment term?
Yeah, so that would, that is something I did find out today. Lois, thank you for pointing that out. For the appointment to city council, the date on the it's the date of the term on the publication and resolution, as well as the minutes here, should be updated to reflect that it's actually going to be only until the next election. So that would be through the end of next year. So it would be basically today through 12/31/2027, because terms for vacancies are only until the next city election, which next year will be our next city election. So I did talk to our city attorney. It doesn't change the purpose of the publication is to make awareness of an appointment, not necessarily of the term length. It's kind of ancillary to the purpose of the publication. However, if that's something you are wanting to err on the side of caution and you feel like that is, I guess, significant to the process, we always can table the actual appointment till next council meeting when we do the publication. But it's Dan's recommendations that it didn't really have an impact on what the purpose of it was. But yes, we can have it updated to reflect.
I think I read today too that it says the next city election, but I think it can be run with concurrent with the next election. That's something we need to check on. So it could be this fall yet
Okay, we'll look at that.
for the midterm. But I mean, that's something.
Yeah, I heard city election, we can look at that, but
I was thinking the last time we had an election, the election for the candidate takes office immediately. Yeah, correct. So it would be, it wouldn't be.
Is that what I mean?
Yeah, I thought that's how yours started, so
Yeah,
we might want to check on that, just even the December 31st part of it. And adjust it. So we've got sort of out.
So I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with that date or that paragraph being brought up to correct.
Is Tyler the website?
Tyler Technologies, it is our software for our.
Accounts.
Oh,
county utilities.
oh, gotcha.
It's a annual.
Yeah, yep. See it.
It is the single most important piece of
Yeah,
software.
yeah, no, yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
Yes. I was going to go second motion, I was going to second by Keith. Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Next up is our public forum. Anyone wishing to speak in the public forum this evening? I will note, I know we're planning on covering the city council appointment tonight. Was anyone wishing to speak about that other than the candidates? Because if so, this is your time to do it. Okay, we're really planning to speak on any other items on the agenda, correct? Okay, all right, then we'll continue on. As Tom mentioned, the Washington County Sheriff's Department report, we'll take care of that when the sheriff arrives. He's got 2 other meetings to attend first this evening. So we'll come back to that, which brings us to number 7 on the agenda, in the city council appointment for our vacant position, replacing Christian instead. So, Cole, you want to kick us off there?
Yes, so thank you to the 5 of you that applied. Our candidates that are eligible are Bradley Furman, Edgar McGuire, Levi Shamblin, Nikki Wynn, and Scott Adkins. So we do have a short panel of questions that City Council will ask. It will kind of do like a snake order of that, so everyone kind of gets an opportunity to go first, if that makes sense. And then from there, I guess it'll be City Council will have maybe some other questions, but after that, there's City Council will have the opportunity to decide who they want to appoint to fill the vacancy. So I guess before we get into this, as I mentioned about the publication, the term, as we discussed kind of the term length, or the term date is. Do you guys have any concerns about moving forward with a potential appointment tonight based off of that, or would you like me to republish and then appoint the next meeting, or are you okay with potentially moving forward tonight?
So the attorney's recommendation on that, he was.
Dan said it's the date of the term is not required as part of the notice publication. The notice publication is just making people, the public aware that we are looking to appoint someone to City Council, and that's with a 60-day window. So that's all that's required on that. So we are in compliance with that.
So I guess I'll ask if you're any concerns with moving ahead with that.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I have provided City Council, each of you, a sheet with some questions on there. At this point, I guess would the candidates want to go to the front row or something like that? So it's clear, but, and then if, I guess each one of you want to go through and give a quick introduction to yourselves, who you are, and
Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being willing to be considered for these positions. So, yeah, we'll just start. I guess we can start here on my left. Everybody introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into the questions.
My name is Edgar McGuire. Most of you probably already know me. I've been a city councilman prior 5 years. I've been on a couple of boards and currently am the chairman of the Board of Adjustment. Just want to thank you for the opportunity, and I think that I bring a lot of experience. And I noticed that there was that class, which I already took, but I think I'll probably have to take it again for the open records and stuff like that. But yeah, I just want to do my duty and help the city of Riverside, which I live and love.
Thank you.
I'm Scott Adkins. Short story, I lived in town about 10 years. I'm originally from central Illinois, in a town not unlike this. I'm a paramedic in the county and for the city, so kind of getting involved in this politics type of scenario, and hope I can help out.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nikki Nguyen. I also go by Bin Wing for people who know me by my family given name. I'm 30 years old, born and raised in Des Moines metro area, and I moved here to Riverside the past year, and I've absolutely loved it and have been wanting to become more involved and invest in Riverside. And I saw the vacancy on the sign and thought, why not start here? Truly. And so I hit that button, and so I'm happy to be here today, and thank you for giving your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brad. I've been in Riverside for about 14 years now. Most people would know me from the 5 years I spent working at Casey's here in town, because you see pretty much everyone at some point when you work at Casey's, assuming they will stop by, which pretty much everyone does. I am originally from Australia, as you can probably tell by the fact they have an accent. I actually became a citizen at the end of 2024. So this is one of the first opportunities I've had to serve, and that is what I am eager to do.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Levi Shamblin. I've been a homeowner in Riverside for 2 years, but I was raised in Riverside all my life. So I would just like to improve the city and see where we go from there.
All right, sounds good. Thank you all again. So Cole, you just want us to go through
Yep.
the questions?
I would start on one side and then kind of snake it through, but
All right. Start on this side. All right. Chris, do you want to ask?
Sure. Is this gonna be for everybody then, or not just?
Yep.
Name your names and just going out. What interests you about serving on the city council?
the first question we have is number one there.
All right, to hold office in the city and candidate must be eligible. Elected to be an eligible elector, you must meet the same qualifications required to vote and be a resident of Riverside. Can you confirm that you meet these eligibility requirements?
Starting with the top.
Simple yes, no.
Yes.
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 All right.
Chris, if you want to do number two, go for it.
Oh, yeah. All right. What interests you about serving the city council?
Well, like I said, I've done it for 5 years, and I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoy asking tough questions and learning about all the different aspects and just problem solving and how to make our city better and be as fair as possible during that process.
My history is emergency services, so obviously with my experience and connections, that would be something that I would be more expertise in and I guess know the vernacular of. Otherwise, city government is where the power is supposed to happen. And we make decisions based on what we think and what our neighbors think. And I think that could be a good arbiter of the pulse of the community, I guess.
I'll start because I moved here recently, so I'm new to Riverside, but I know that the house that I live in used to belong to Carolyn Hudson, who I believe had been very involved with Riverside. And, you know, that is inspiration, and also seeing all the events and the resources and just learning about the history of the town. It inspired me, and also just my own motivation to help build, you know, the town in the future in the way that those who are and have been on the council have been building such a great town, but also to, you know, be prepared for any future things that happen, and also to help new folks in the town or people who are, you know, of my age, without kids, which I saw was a large demographic of the town as well, how to be a part of building the town in a way that allows people like me to be invested and to be involved. And I'm not sure what the later questions are, but having 7 years in nonprofits has also given me a lot of involvement in building resources and working with groups of people to do a variety of programs and ways to build community. And so that's the experience that I bring.
As I said, I've been living in town for about 14 years. I've been involved in various different ways over the years. This is the first time I'm actually eligible to serve in this sort of capacity. I've worked with RAC in the past. I was on planning and zoning previously, but I'm just interested in making sure that I'm providing a service to the town that's given me services for 14 years.
I'm just looking to improve the town and help it grow and make it stand out from other towns to make people move here. That's the biggest thing we need to do, is have people move here.
All right. Thank you. You want us to change up the order on the answers a little bit too? Cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Willis, you want to take the next question? You can choose who starts us off.
The Riverside Wellness Center has been a long-planned community project with proven public support. This project is nearing the bidding and construction phases. What are your thoughts on this project and its role in Riverside future? Oh, Scott.
I think the biggest thing is having kids having something to do will benefit the community and the individual citizens. That was kind of my stance on it. And obviously it's good to have adults, and if you get into older adults and more active you keep people, the better off you're going to be in the long run. But definitely having a place for kids to concentrate and grow and learn and do their thing.
Thank you.
I was really excited to see on people's lawns when I had come to visit to move at first. So I'm really excited about it. I have talked to a few neighbors already who are wondering where the city is in that project. I would see it as a very exciting for me personally to come to fruition. And two, I do think that would be a really major and big thing for all kinds of folks in the city. And so that would be a priority to me. And in terms of the variety of activities, resources available there for all kinds of folks, families, singles, individuals, older folks. But I know that, like in terms of like applying for funding and design and all, I think wherever that is, that would be really important to consider. There was one more thing I was thinking, I guess like in terms of affordability in general, and I was thinking for the town, because I had read that in some notes. And so being able to meet those costs, but also to keep in mind overall city funding would be important to me.
So I know that there's the idea, and some of the funding goes back all the way to Invasion, Iowa, in regards to the community center. And I've been involved along the way at various different times with different groups that have been involved in planning and brainstorming and that sort of thing. And I think it's going to be very valuable, not just for the current citizens, but it is a great way to attract new people to town who are looking for amenities and facilities that will encourage them to move to a community like Riverside. And I think it's important to be able to offer that.
The biggest thing is bringing people into town and bringing the money flowing for businesses and the Mexican restaurant. People come in and eat if they're there. The biggest thing is bringing people in, hosting events there, something for people to do.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I've always been honest, and I think you all remember me coming and talking about it. I wasn't a fan of it. I think I've got some issues with the fiscally responsibility part of it. I hear that it's gone up a little bit, and if we could work with the school, that would be great, because I know that some of that bond that they had was for gym improvements and stuff like that. I'm just concerned with the building of the casino in Cedar Rapids, and I just am very careful when it comes to money. I think a lot of cities overspend and think that they're okay, and then when things roll back, they're in some trouble. So honestly, I've never been a fan of it. I know it's already moving, so that train has already passed, but I still want to be able to make sure that it's fiscally responsible and as tight as possible, and that we can make sure that it's as good as it is, or as good as it can be.
If you were to be appointed to serve on the city council, what would be your most important issues or priorities?
Yes, I think affordability is probably the biggest priority for me. for where I am in life, and I think others are, whether they're older or younger, and also what others have said in moving here. I moved here for that reason, and I think that would be a big draw for many other folks as well. And it applies to pretty much every point I think you could think of in terms of life, right? Food, entertainment, wanting to live somewhere, having a community space. So that would be my number one.
I think affordability, as you said, is very important. The other thing is having a town that is one that you enjoy driving through, even if you don't necessarily live here. I know we've come a long way in regards to improvements over time. For example, with downtown, different streets being improved. I think we need to move forward with that sort of thing to make sure that we've hit the entire town, to make sure everything is everywhere in town is a place where you're proud to live, not, oh, I live on such and such and it's a dump compared to wherever else. I think making sure that everybody has a good standard is important. And to keep moving forward with that, when we get to the end, we move back to the start and what can we do to make this town better?
Biggest thing is infrastructure. I mean, you're always going to have to improve roads. It's just the way it is. Sidewalks, you're always going to have that. Sewer, it's just the biggest one that you're going to have to do. And whether you're building new developments, you're going to have to build roads. So that's our biggest thing.
Was it one thing or 5 things or what was it?
Most important issues are priorities.
Okay.
It's specified, so.
So I picked out 4 of them. Infrastructure, which I think everybody could agree with. We have the water system upgrades and the wastewater improvements, the downtown, the streets and sidewalks, and the downtown is a big thing. Also improving the downtown, attract businesses, but we still want to keep the character of Riverside, and then also avoid spending money without results and not good results. Recreation and quality of life, and then public safety and EMS, which you obviously all know that I've been a big supporter of and was on the EMS advisory board, and I think that's really important as well. So those would be my priorities.
So I think it all really comes down to shuffling commerce into town. Obviously, we've got to have a fiscal basement or a basis for doing things. We need to do things like having activities for kids, which there just isn't a lot of, but having activities that adults are engaged in as well. But in order to do that, we've got to be able to attract business to bring the revenue into the community. And I think that would probably be my core focus. I do want to sidestep on the EMS too, because we're in a pretty unique spot where we're fairly close to everybody, but not completely close to anybody. So we need to be constantly on the watch for opportunities to enhance our emergency services. Not to suggest that there's a hole there, but to make sure we're keeping up with the most beneficial opportunities for our community.
We're out of pre-prepared questions, Kevin. If you handle that, all right, perfect.
This is a 2-part question. We normally have our meetings on Monday, first and third Mondays of each month. Is that going to be a problem for question number 1? And then it's not just showing up at the meeting, there's quite a bit of homework and research. If you're doing it right, you got to do a lot of research and what's going on. So I guess we do have time to do that.
Kevin, do you mind if I can give some context to that real quick? Just so it's generally speaking, we meet first and third Monday of the month at 6 p.m. Generally, it's a 2-hour meeting. So sometimes we'll have another special meeting or work session in there, which those are typically a little shorter than our regular city council meetings. But every Friday, I send out a weekly report on some of what's going on in the city. You'd be expected before city council meetings to review the packet of information that's sent out to come prepared for the meeting. And then I also typically meet one with city council members each month. So, it's all in all, probably a 10-hour a month, commitment. And I think that's spread out across the month, but that's generally what it would look like. Is that accurate?
So whoever wants to start.
I can, just moving on. Absolutely, I do work in Cedar Rapids myself, but I am back in town at about 5:45 every evening. So being able to come in at 6 o'clock on a Monday is absolutely no problem for me. It's only if there was a work session scheduled for before that I may be a little late. But obviously, if it's done in advance, I can certainly discuss that with my day-to-day employee to see what I can do to flex time to make sure I'm here to make things work.
Yes, I work here in town and I get off around 5:30 every day, so be no problem for me. And homework, yeah, you'll have to do your homework so you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, when I was here, we started at 6:30, didn't we? Yeah. No, I think I could go back to 6. No, that's not a problem. And I did spend a lot of time looking at things. And to tell you the truth, I think in that 5 years, I missed one day. And I think it was, that was one day for 5 years. So I have no problem committing.
Finagling with the schedule is a paramedic's life. So, yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah, I also work regular hours, getting off at 5 in Iowa City, so there'd be no problem. There are evening commitments, but as he said, enough notice ahead of time, and those things can be changed. So my work is flexible. And I already do kind of look at city history and all of that. It just gives me more of a reason to. So that's fine with me, yeah.
Ryan, me, anything else? Okay. In your life, career, personal life, have you ever had to make a decision where it can benefit me or it can benefit the majority? Can you give me an example of that and how you handle it?
Well, running a business, there's been times where you'll be working on something and you'll have to eat hours on it because it's not fair to the customer. And that's just what you have to do. It sucks for you, but it's what you do. Keep shit fair for them.
I've been a business owner for 3 companies and a CEO for another company. And I believe, and actually I've mentored young teenagers. I've talked to them about how life is unfair. And if you can control fairness, even if it hurts you, as long as you're being as fair as possible. And I think that comes with maybe some empathy. I think it's really important to be fair. And I don't think anybody should be out to take advantage of anybody, and be responsible and be honest. And I think every relationship is a two-way street. It doesn't matter who it is. And if somebody's going to lose, that relationship's not worth it. So everybody's got to somewhat win and be fair about it.
Specifically, I guess it would come down to scheduling. Over the course of 30 years, I've had to make countless decisions that benefited the organization and the community I was working in versus what would benefit me. It's kind of a loaded question because, we just do it all the time. I think it's second nature to look at the grand scheme of things and what I need to do fit into that.
I would say many decisions I make are not necessarily for my own benefit, but for the benefit of others, which in some ways, kind of turn around and benefits me. Citing nonprofit work as a pretty prime example, I think, of folks who have been involved. That's not a labor of monetary gain or anything. It's definitely for service towards community and love for community. And I think, with the time that we have, it doesn't necessarily go towards, much fulfillment than to help build others up, especially if you have more or just because it's important to lift other people up, and it's important to be a part of other people's lives in ways that benefit, others. And in that sense, that kind of is part of the reason for living and whatnot to me.
Now I know that often it's, well, how is it going to benefit me versus my interests versus somebody else. But sometimes I love to be able to find a situation where I can do both. Even if it's 90%, 10%, there's always a way of winning for everybody. It's just a matter of finding that. And I think it's very valuable to be able to look for what can I do for me, even if it's disadvantages for day to day, that will make things better for everybody around me, as well as moving forward in whatever we're doing. Day to day, I do work as a community health worker for Unity Point. So there are a lot of things that I do on a daily basis that are not necessarily of benefit for me because they can take a lot of time, but they're all about making sure patients have the best outcomes. So there are things I could do that I could save a lot of time and make it look easier for myself, but that's not acceptable in my view. You've got to do the best for the other person as well as yourself, because if they're winning, I'm winning.
We have other questions for the group.
What would,
Yep,
what would you give, if you gave like Riverside an A on, what would you give Riverside an A on whatever? And what would you give us an F? What would you like to see? I guess, what do you think differentiator? What's the end of the spectrum? What would you think is the best at? What would you?
Is it mine back to me? Shoot. Okay, why don't you start this one off?
The bugs. I just gotta talk about the bugs.
Well, I think we do everything pretty well. I mean, I don't think that there's anything that really extreme. I think everything takes time. I know that everybody complains, government is slow, and there's a reason for that. People are being methodical and thorough and making sure that, we have a lot of responsibility here. And so, I'm glad to see that the downtown's looking a lot better. I think, I don't know how things have changed, but I think communication was probably like a C when it comes to our partners and the casino and stuff like that. And I don't know how much that's improved or not, but I do think that was maybe a little bit of an issue. But overall, I think we're headed in the right direction. It's just about measured growth and making sure that we don't grow too fast, but we're not decreasing. So I would say that, like I said, I think that's a little extreme. I don't think there's really any Fs, but I would say an A to a C.
Over the years, I've lived in Riverside. I really haven't experienced anything like serious crime or it's generally a pretty quiet and easy to live in community. People are friendly here. I don't have anything that I would particularly hammer on except for the bugs. I would like to see a little bit more aggressive action. In the town I grew up in, it was about 4,000 people, so it was a little bit bigger, but we had people out there taking care of it. And you didn't have the gnats and the moths and the mosquitoes and the rest of it because they were out here nonstop. So if there was an issue, that would be my issue. Otherwise, I think generally overall, it's a good town. It's a good town. It's a small town. Maybe it could be a little bit bigger, but that's something that can be worked on.
Well, I also really enjoy living in town. Everyone I've run into is friendly. I love going on walks around the area. And, I wish I could steal Scott's answer, but I will also speak up and say, the bugs every day. But it seems like it's leveled out a little bit recently. I'm not sure why, because I don't know bug things, but you know, it'd be great to see more people out and about. And I've seen, you know, some event, you know, promoted in Washington County. But I think it would be great to see more, you know, ways for folks to get out and know each other. I've seen the park area and, you know about Truck Fest, but I think a neighbor I talked to had said, you know, the one time I'll see a lot of people out is during the annual garage sale, which just happened recently. And so I wondered, you know, there could be more. So I guess that's where I would see for improvement.
Now, I'm not sure whether you mean on the point of view of what the city can be doing or just as a general grade.
Just like, what do you think the city does really good at, and what can we do a lot better? Or did you just see, like, could we, anything, better roads? Or,
Well, I do think we're doing a great job of our continual improvement of making over time, improving different roads at different times. I think we're moving forward very well in that respect. The one thing that I would love to see the city do more, and I know they already do an absolute ton in this sort of thing, but commercial investment. I mean, businesses are the lifeblood of the community. We need to see more investment from new businesses being able to come in, being able to attract people from outside of town to come in, because it's all well and good to have the wonderful businesses that we have from locals, but until we are bringing new ones in, we're not necessarily going to see growth from a tax-based point of view. But obviously, that's not something that's necessarily, you can't just drag somebody in here and say, you start a business. But being able to move forward in that, I think, is important. And I do know that the town's put a lot of effort into opportunities for what people are able to do, wellness center and that sort of thing, moving forward with activities in town, which have not always appealed to everybody. Not everybody wants to play baseball and softball, even though I know the town does a great job with that. But being able to offer all that sort of thing, I think, is important going forward as well.
Well, we're definitely not doing bad as roads. I mean, it takes a while to get them going. You can't just do all of them, and your focus is the main roads first. And that's just the way it is. But one thing I'd like to see improved is obviously the growth of the town, because we haven't grown that much. And I would also like to see more businesses in town.
Anybody have anything else?
you know, the city in several last years has been working to improve our downtown and streets, the infrastructure. And many of you have mentioned those improvements come along in Riverside. My question to you would be, and you also mentioned about attracting more businesses, more residential. So my question would be, do you feel there are properties in town that the city can have discussions with the owners of possible nuisance violations to the city ordinances that could be improved, that would enhance the city to outsiders?
Absolutely. I mean, if we've got ordinances on the books and people aren't keeping up to them, then I think that those conversations do need to be had. I don't know of any specific examples that I'm going to pull right off the top of my head, because I think, generally speaking, it's a good place to be. But I think that as a council person, we need to be cognizant of what our ordinances are, if they're fitting the bill, and if they're not, then we definitely need to get involved in the nuisance correction.
I don't know if I understand your question correctly. If this is about current businesses, like practice, or in terms of attracting.
I'm just saying, if you got a nuisance, say, non-running vehicles or long grass that hasn't been mowed, possibly not taken care of your house or outbuildings, just those kind of sort of items. I mean, it's something that could be, frowned on if people are looking
come to this town or even mention the town to others.
Mhm.
But I'm saying it's, would it be something that you would be willing to work with the city to get involved with those people that could be possibly violating and correct the issue?
Mhm. Where my thoughts are going is that, like improving the city for businesses or attracting businesses and beautifying, like attracting just newcomers to the city seems like it it would fit more in the sense of like a campaign, hitting several points, like including, getting people on board with making sure their businesses are attractive to people, which, I think spoken the right way, I don't think any business would turn away, right? Attracting more customers. But that on top of, promoting the city as a place that is, welcoming folks to come. I didn't notice that upon coming to Riverside. I just really loved the town and wanted a place to settle down. And so that's why I see this business conversation. It seems like it would be like more of like a multifaceted kind of campaign to push the town into sort of like collectively agreeing on, attracting customers, attracting other businesses, and going specific directions so that there's like a sure push in certain directions. If that's like, if that can answer the question you were looking for, the answer.
So I'm actually guilty of this. A number of years ago, we had what would be considered a nuisance at our property. That the city was great and very communicative and working with us to get it solved, rather than just saying fix it and then just being completely hands off, which I think is fantastic. In that, if you're going to work with somebody to fix something, it makes it a lot easier for the person on the other end of it to make sure it's actually getting resolved in a manner that's acceptable to anyone, not just being heavy-handed and saying, well, it's got to be done, and then just stepping back. If we can't work with people to help make sure these things are fixed and to make those sort of issues a non-issue, then we're kind of not following through with things.
Yeah, we definitely need to be working with people and informing them if they have a nuisance and just making sure they know before we just send a letter or anything like that. Just definitely make sure they know what they're doing wrong, because some people don't read any of that stuff. They have no idea.
If I remember, Tom and I were working on the city code book, and we went through every page, although I remember doing a lot more of the work. But going through the city code book, and I think we did a good job of, there was a few issues, but for the most part, we were really thorough about that. And I remember we hired somebody to kind of maintain that on the residential side of things. And I don't know where we're at with that. I know that, the building permits is a big part of that job too and stuff like that. But, some cities have taken a different way of handling that situation. I would love for everybody to be responsible and take care of their stuff. And I can understand that there's, time constraints and whatnot. But speaking about the downtown, before I even left, that burned out building was supposed to be kind of taken care of. That whole corner was supposed to be kind of pretty much taken care of. So I don't know what's fallen through with that or how that's going. But obviously, I think if you're going to be a homeowner, if you're going to be a business owner, landowner, you have a responsibility to stay on top of what the code is and make it as nice as possible. And I would agree that the nicer your place is, the more people it will attract, the more customers it will attract. I don't think everybody has that mindset, but you would hope. I think as long as maybe we have that gentleman or somebody that's kind of maybe paying attention to that. Although I know, like, for instance, bigger cities are kind of saying, wait a minute, let's just do something until a neighbor complains. They're not being proactive to save money. They've had problems with that. But I think either way, I think we're small enough that we could have somebody kind of maintaining that and staying on top of that. But I do think that is a huge issue. I've got friends that come from out of town. We, go eat dinner and stuff like that. And they always question about some of these buildings, but I will say it's looked a lot better with the revitalization of the downtown frontage.
Any other questions?
Comment.
All right, go ahead.
Well, obviously, one person's gonna get selected tonight, I think. And, of course, you know, we run later when the elections come up. But we always have openings in our boards and commissions. And, so if you want to get involved, talk to those folks over there.
Be happy to talk to you.
Because we're always looking for people, and that's a good way to get feedback.
Or even if you just would be happy to commit to a half-hour conversation, there's always input I'd like to get from people, because there's several people up here that, I don't talk to routinely every minute, so I definitely like to hear your input.
Cole, do you have any other questions before we start some?
No.
On this?
I guess I'll throw it back to you, Alan. Do you have anything that you would like to ask?
I have one more that I think you may have touched on, but I want to ask the question specifically. So I think one thing that makes this group work well together is we all have different skill sets and different perspectives. So for each of you, real briefly, what do you think the key skills or perspectives are that you bring to this position that would make the city council work better? So I think we're starting with you on this one, Nikki.
Sorry, could I just hear it really clearly? The skills
Key
and
skills or perspectives, so things that, experiences that you have that would make you a valuable asset to the city council.
I would say something unique I've noticed that people have told me is I notice things that other people don't. And so I would say that I do enjoy, looking at things differently, thinking out of the box. Sometimes they don't work, but sometimes they do. And I think that is really beneficial. And coming from, someone who is sort of in a middle of life age, looking to invest and settle, I can really bring that perspective to, this kind of time and age that is, different for people who are looking to build a life during this time. So.
Thank you, Brad.
I love a good rabbit hole. And by that, I mean, I like being able to go and find something. For example, when we put the trail in on Ella, I know we got funding for that through a state grant for trails because it was heading up towards the school. And I'd actually, when Lori was still working here at the city office, I'd actually said, hey, maybe you should look into this, because I'd found it when looking for something else. But I enjoy going in and looking for details and background and doing the research side of things and looking for opportunities, even if I'm not always the best at following through with them on a personal note. I certainly enjoy finding them, at least in the first place.
All right, thank you.
Well, I was born and raised here, so I kind of know at least the history from when I was raised. So that'd be my perspective. Key things I can bring to the city is, well, I work in town, so I'm always around. I always see stuff. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Edgar.
Well, I have really bad ADHD, and I question a lot, and I want to know details. And I think that's probably one of my best qualities in a manner this way. And I remember myself, and if you guys remember, I probably took the meetings an extra half hour to an hour than it should have been. But that's because I wanted to make sure that we were making the right decisions. And there was people that come to us and tell us one thing, and then I didn't want to accept that. I wanted to know more information about it. So I think my details and just wanting to really be thorough is a good skill set to have here.
Thank you. Scott?
The best way that things work in our society is by taking it down to the lowest common denominator. And so I'm going to tell a story here. If I bore you, I'm sorry. I just got this dog and I'm walking him around in different neighborhoods and things like that. And it's amazing what you can find just stopping and talking to somebody about what's going on in the community in their particular little corner of it. And I think that's the best way to get to a point of improvement here is by going and talking to the individual components of the town. And I think that that's something that I could bring to this council.
Very good. Well, thank you again, everyone. Like Kevin mentioned, unfortunately, we've got 5 good candidates here, 1 position, so not everybody's going to get selected, obviously, but we appreciate you being willing to serve. And there are many other ways to serve, and we hope that whatever the outcome is tonight, that you guys continue to be involved. So thanks for the time, and with that, I will open the floor up to the city council for any discussion on this.
I'll go first. I want to thank all of you. You've all had an excellent interview. I would struggle, with this appointment. But I am going to say, as a council person, I believe I'm here for the people of Riverside. And a couple of people were on the ballot during this election, and I feel like the people spoke. So it's really going to be hard for me. I will work with any one of you that's appointed, but I'm going to say that 160, 150 people voted for these candidates that had their papers signed, that they campaigned, and to me, the people spoke. So I'm telling you where I'm coming from right off the bat, because I feel like that many people got out and voted. I'm not saying that, you guys should have been on the ballot or anything, but I'm struggling with the community talking and, giving their opinion and stuff. So I'll listen to everybody else, but that's where I'm coming from, so.
Good, thank you. Any other comments? All right. If there's nothing else, we do have a resolution here for appointment. Does anybody have a motion to appoint one of these candidates?
I would like to appoint the next one in line with the number of votes from our last election, which would be Riverside. He only missed it by 5 or 6 votes.
All right, so that's a motion for Lee Vaishnav to fill the position. Do you have a second? All right, hearing none, that motion dies for lack of a second. So any other motions for appointment?
Well, I'm kind of stuck with two candidates that I feel would bring quite a bit to our table. One is a newcomer in town, which I think he'd bring a lot to us also. The other one is the experience of sitting on this council before. So I'm going to make a motion to approve Edgar McGuire to fill the appointed city council seat.
Okay, thank you. Again, I'll open it up to a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, second by Kevin. And now any discussion?
My vote will reflect what I just said. Not that I would enjoy working with him yet, but my vote's going to go. So.
Okay. Anybody else? Cole, any clarification before we take a?
Well, if we don't have to make decisions, it can be a special election, so that's up to you guys. ultimately you're gonna have to come to a consensus on a candidate, someone that will get a motion in a second and also pass a roll call vote. So a simple majority, that's what is needed. So I don't know if that provides any clarification, but the alternative is no decision and special election. So.
All right, so again, we do have a resolution here. We've had a motion to appoint Edgar McGuire, a second on that motion. Our resolution number here would be
26.
All right, and if there's no additional discussion, I'll ask everyone for their vote. Start down on my left here with Ryan.
No.
No.
All right.
Yes.
No.
Chris. We have talked about Okay. So that resolution is approved by a vote of 3-2. And Edgar will join the city council at the
Next council meeting. We'll have a oath of office. All of that year training and open meetings, open records will carry over.
Oh, well.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
All right, so again, thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate everybody's time, everybody's willingness to serve, and just, I guess, the way the situation is, we were only able to keep one, but appreciate you being part of our school for consideration here.
Just as the appointment will not be finalized. I mean, it's finalized, but there's a 60-day period afterwards that unless there's a petition filed in that, it would be, once you hit that 60-day point, then it's final. So you'll be fulfilled for the rest of the, till next next election, if that makes sense. But I don't know if that makes sense or not, but.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This is all of you.
Very good.
All right, thank you very much. You guys want to go back to your seats, you can. Welcome to stay with the rest of the meeting if you'd like.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, let's circle back quickly to the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
Appreciate it.
Good evening. I'm here tonight for the fiscal year 27 law enforcement contract, and the contract for fiscal year 27 is going to go to $288,369, and that's up from fiscal year 26 with $284,597. This kind of comes in at the end of a plan that we've been working on for 5 to 6 years for increasing our staffing levels, which was started, the conversations were started back in fiscal year 20 and 21. And during that time, we increased our staffing on patrol from 11 deputies up to 15 where we're at today. Of those 15, we're currently trying to fill 2 of those spots. It's one of the things that throughout the 5 to 6 years we've struggled with is getting people hired. A lot of times it's taken us, a couple hiring cycles to get people hired, but we keep at it and we're in the process right now. And I know, just looking into next fiscal year, we probably have at least one retirement that we're looking at too. So we're going to try to start in on that process as soon as we can after we get these other 2 filled. So other than that, nothing with the contract changed, except for the dollar amount. And then there's a date within that contract when we have to notify you next February on what the following year contract will be. So that date changed and the dollar amount changed. Everything else with the contract stayed the same.
Thank you. And question?
I got a question for you. I don't know, really, some kind of put this out there, but in comparison, say, to other counties, Washington County, for its businesses or size, residents, is there any comparison done in the state as to say Washington County, you have 15 deputies, you really only need 12
or you should be having 18? I mean, is there any sort of research into something like that, saying that you're staffed adequately for what you're serving?
Well, I would say that we spent a lot of time, at the beginning of that process, looking at our calls for service, looking at, how we were currently being staffed, how we covered the hours throughout the day. There was a lot of conversation about that. And, the one thing is I don't think you can look county to county and compare, apples to apples. I mean, a prime example for Washington County is the Riverside Casino. What other county our size in the state has that?
That's what I was wondering.
Jared, do you mind, I say something quickly? So like one thing I think about comparing law enforcement costs is what would it cost for us to have the same coverage, but provided in-house with our own police department. I think a generally accepted estimate per officer is 140 to 160,000 per year, just considering wages, benefits, also equipment costs you have each year. And then for a community of our size, like the amount of, I guess, officers you need for coverage is, I would say, probably a minimum of 4.5 to 5. And what we pay at 288,000 comparative to what that would get us on hiring our own, there's already a substantial cost savings there. And just from what I see from other communities, we are very lucky to have, a partner like Washington County for law enforcement. Not every county offers contract law enforcement, and neither nor at the staffing level that Jared and his team are able to. So I don't know if that very much, I guess, answers your question, Tom, but just to contextualize what it would cost for us to provide the service, we couldn't even touch it with 280,000. It would probably be double, if not 3 times as much to be able to do that.
And if you look at when we first started back in fiscal year 21, our average cost per deputy within those budget areas that we have patrol deputies, which is contract law enforcement and uniform patrol, we averaged between $120,000 and $130,000 per deputy for their wages, benefits, training, equipment costs, and things like that. And in the last 5 years, you've seen, because it's hard to find people, to do the job, you've seen our union contracts come back with a lot, higher wages in them. Our equipment, just looking at equipment, vehicle costs over the last 10 to 15 years ago, we used to be able to buy cars, between $20,000 and $30,000, and now you can't buy a car, for law enforcement unless you're spending $40,000 to $50,000. They don't offer cars anymore; they're all either pickups or SUVs. So now, if you look at our budget and average that out per deputy in that area, it's $178,000 in this upcoming fiscal year. And Cole's absolutely right. I mean, if Riverside wanted to start their own police department, and I told the group this, back when we had these conversations, you're talking probably 3 to 5 officers to staff Riverside the way that it would need to be staffed with the casino. And so if you start doing that math and figuring that out, that's where contract law enforcement for Washington County has helped all of our communities keep law enforcement more reasonably priced. And it's, as I explained it back then, it's all of us working together to make our law enforcement the best that we can. And I think, we've done that. We worked together. We looked at all of the numbers back then, and we came up with a hiring plan. One of the goals that we were shooting for is 1 full-time officer on patrol for each 1,000 people that we provide service to, and that's right where we're at right now. And I think that not only covers for today, but helps us in the future to where we don't have to make up that big gap that we had when we started looking at this, 5, 6, or 7 years ago. So we've prepared ourselves for the future. And the other thing that we've been able to do is when we do have openings, we're not feeling the pressure of that. We're able to, we're spending some money on overtime and then we're covering our schedule. But if we hadn't have done that plan, we'd be in a lot worse position today than we are because of what we did over all of those years.
Any other questions?
I'd make a motion to approve resolution 2026-27.
Yep.
Resolution to approve fiscal year 2027 contract for law enforcement services with Washington County Sheriff's Department. I think you guys do an excellent job.
Thank you.
I'm happy to have you.
Second. All right. Any discussion?
I think we're pretty well represented here with the number of deputies that we have in town, so I think that we kind of get our money's worth. So
That's a lot of law enforcement. I mean, I think there's 2 or 3 state troopers as well.
I think
That
so
live
too.
here.
So, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Rob, take a vote on that. Let's start with Grinstead. Aye. Schneider.
Aye.
Sexton. King.
Aye.
Rogerson.
Aye.
All right, that resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Copy for you.
All right.
All right, we'll move on. Next up is our city engineer report. Hello. Who are you?
How we doing today?
Good.
Good. All right, we'll go through as quickly as able, but obviously, stop here with any questions. Wellness Center, we just met last week with a work session there, so I don't have a whole lot new other than what we discussed then with regards to operations and where we're at with construction docs and pricing, which is looking good, but happy to answer any other questions there. Otherwise, I know we just talked about it quite a bit last week. We have on the docket there some CDBG downtown revitalization items and some resolutions to approve some change orders and construction change directives.
Brian, if you prefer me to speak to them, I know
Yeah,
you're not
please
hands-on
do.
parts of them.
That'd be great.
So we do have 3 resolutions. One is change order number 5. There is some changing in, change order numbers that we'll have to update. Brian has those accurately reflect on his engineer's report, but there was a difference in numbering because how to put this, some of the change orders are not out of threshold where the city would be involved, where it's like a couple $100 here. It's an urgent decision that goes between the property owner and the architect. This is actually change order number 5, which is correct, but it is an increase in some roofing material costs. The work has already gone forward, but this was something that when they bid the project versus when the contract was awarded, there was a small price increase that I don't know how.
Yeah, those are material increase costs. That
And it
was nice because of the timing of the change in material price. That was shown in their original bid.
It's a $1,846 increase for materials. And it's for 11 East South, 11 East North is Josh Kruger's building there. But that's all coming out of the contingency. So, any questions on that change order? You're gonna go through the list of these and you guys can vote, do 3 votes.
Might as well, if everybody's okay with that, we might as well just move down the agenda, so, yeah. No,
I can go through, I can talk about all 3 and then we can.
Let's just go on in order
Okay.
here and vote on as you discuss them. Or as you discuss them. So, change order number 5 is the first one. That'd be resolution 2026-28. Anyone want to make a motion for approval of that change order? Okay.
Also,
Okay, motion by Key, second by Rogerson. Any discussion? If not, take a vote on that. Rogerson.
Aye.
Key. Sexton. Schneider.
Aye.
And Grinstead. All right, that is approved.
The next resolution is to approve or issue a construction change directive. So to give you some context, the project has passed the final completion date. There are change order 11, 14, and 15, which were previously approved. The contractor is wanting to say that, I guess as I understand, they don't want to do them, and although they are required, necessary repairs that are required per the grant. This construction change directive is essentially a notice that says you will complete these. There's a up to 6-day timeline extension. So beyond that 3/15 final completion date, it potentially could add up to 6 days to that, which would delay our ability to charge for some of the additional costs beyond there. I've gone back and forth with our architect on this. It seems like, it effectively acts as a change order. Brian, I don't know if you have anything to add on to the construction change order. I've never encountered one prior to this, but it seems like it's the necessary step to get them to move.
Yeah, it is. And we don't come across it too often either. It is kind of the legal way of pushing that contract to do what they should be doing and are required to do. I think you described it pretty well. It lists under there in that AIA document what this includes, as he said, with the chamber of 14, 15, and gives that, defines that 6 days. But yeah, it's really our.
These are all change orders, by the way, that we previously approved.
Yeah, previously approved. And this is just like I said, kind of that legal backing, if you will, push to get the company to do their work.
The reason I'm bringing this back to you guys is because it would be amending the contract for that 6-day increase in timeline. I've, like I said, gone back and forth with Martin Gardner on this, whether or not this is reasonable or not. They felt that some kind of good faith negotiation on this was work that was uncovered later in the project, and that we should give a small, increase. The original proposal was for each of these items 15 days per, which would be 2 months, and we countered back down to 6 days, up to 6 days for the entire list of change orders. So I think we're being reasonable here, but because we are amending the contract for another 6 days, that's why we're bringing it back. So the work trying to be approved by you guys, it's really the adding up to 6 days extension of the contract is what you're considering.
Any discussion? If not, we have a motion to approve that resolution and construction change directive. So second. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote on that resolution as well. Riverside. Schneider.
Aye.
Sexton. King. Rogerson.
Aye.
That is approved.
The last resolution for the downtown revitalization project is a contract amendment with Martin Gardner. So our original contract really should have been amended after we issued the DTR construction contract. Their original contract only went through the end of calendar year 2025. It was their responsibility to notify us of the, coming to the end of the contract, which they had not. They did continue work per the contract, we're not necessarily fully responsible for that. So they've decreased what the cost of their work is to $5,000, which I reviewed this with our city attorney. And it's another one of those things where they did complete the work in good faith for the project. We do have an obligation to try to make that right, even if contractually this was not covered. $5,000 is effectively covering their labor. What would have been built in this time frame was about $18,000. So this is a lot less expensive. And I think it's also, we do want Martin Gardner to finish out the project, and by not amending the contract, we wouldn't have services being covered, and they would also wouldn't be paid. So just not a good position to be in. But anyways, like I said, this should have been a contract amendment prior, but we were not notified of it. So this would get us cover that period between the final completion date and the first of the calendar year. That's that $5,000, and it would also cover us for the remainder of the project, establishing what those fees would be. So,
So just so I understand that, it's $5,000 from the work that they've done from December 31st to this point, and then any additional work that they're going to do between now and the end of the contract.
would be at their billable rate.
Okay, so you have a rough estimate of what that would be?
I honestly don't. I could ask to get that.
Are we talking another 5,000, 10,000 potentially?
I would say reasonably so. Yeah,
5 to 10.
yeah, probably in that
All
range.
right, that's-
So I can confirm with an update for you guys this week as well.
Did you say from December 31st to now? Is that what you asked?
So
Yeah.
so the first of the year till actually March 15th.
Yeah.
So I think it says March.
It says March.
However, you have to remember though, per the contract, anything after that final completion date, we also are able to charge back to the contractor as reasonable costs associated to the delay. So Martin Gardner, ECOG, Axiom, all of those fees would be applicable to charge back and deduct from the final pay application. So,
But the way the contract reads, it says 5,000 till March 15th, but then it says services after 3/16 will be charged at their rate.
correct, and we'll be able
That's
to,
2.5 months, so about what, I mean,
I'm not sure, but also anything after that, well, now it's 6 days, so the 3/21, anything beyond that, we would be able to recoup from the contractor because those are reasonable costs resulting from the delay. So,
we're trying to do our 6 days with them also.
I mean, the 6 days would be, so what I'm referring to with the Cornerstone contract is that 6 days adds on to, delays the date on which we would be able to charge them back for those. It doesn't matter with Martin Gardner. It's just after the 21st now is when we can actually start recouping those fees.
So you said that we won't have to worry about after March because that'll all be charged back to Cornerstone?
Per the contract, those are reasonable costs that would be able to be charged back. So yes.
Any other questions or comments? Do we have anyone who want to make a motion to approve this resolution?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2026-30, filling the contract with Martin Gardner. We got a resolution.
All right. Any discussion?
I just want to make sure there's no cost to the city.
Yeah, does that make sense? So like adding, so up to 6 days is what we just do with the change order directive, the construction change directive. So that means that our final completion date is moved up to 6 days, which moves where we can start collecting those reasonable fees. So now effectively anything that would be invoiced or any of the itemized costs from 3/21 on are reasonable costs that we can credit back of our final.
I just
Does that
don't
make sense?
like, kind of knew what that was when I'm loading here, but it's, I guess, as long as it's no cost to the city,
6 days would be what we were paying for, so, yeah.
just 6 days.
Any other questions? If not, we'll take a vote on that. Rogerson. Aye. Keenan. Aye. Sexton. Aye. Schneider.
Aye.
Grinstead. Aye. Okay, that is approved.
All right, I think that was all the items on downtown.
Hall Park Playground, provided, 3 different, options or looks for some playground equipment based on, information from the public survey. To just give some ideas on equipment layout, again, based on what we saw on the most preferred, items in terms of types of equipment, shade structures, things like that. We work with BCI Burke on this because they can do that really quickly with their different equipment. So you got one aspect where it's more typical playground equipment, and the 3 are somewhat similar in that degree. Always hard to tell the difference between all the play equipment, but they vary in equipment, and one is more kind of a nature looking. You could change any of the colors, but right, more nature colors. Have some wood type look to it. It's all composite material still, but the look of it is more of a nature look. Another one that's more kind of bright and vibrant, a little more vertical, if you will. And then the third option that was trying to go toward more of that space type theme, if you will, kind of a rocket look on the equipment. There's that component. You could also go the total different way, which we talked about before, which is a more natural look, like using pipe, like storm sewer pipe and rope and existing like that. But from everything we saw from the survey and what we heard from the staff was the direction with this play equipment as we're showing. So the layout itself with the fall surface and how that fits in is all pretty similar in terms of the parameters. We gave them a certain parameter to work within, square footage wise and area wise, with the layout. And then the pricing on these, just equipment wise, all came in really similar. I think it was 140 to 140, 140, 150 essentially for the equipment only. Leaves about.
Where do you suspect like surfacing?
Yeah, so leaves us about 160 to 190 for surfacing and the other improvements associated with getting that equipment in there. We ran some numbers on the surfacing based on our square footage, and I think it'll be tight, but we'll be pretty close. We'll be right there in that 340 range, or actually less than that, based on the budget that was provided to start this. So I think this falls within that. Obviously, we can take some, after we get that fully flushed out, we can take a piece of equipment out or here or there to adjust if needed. But I think this gets us in that ballpark of that the budget that we had to work with. But just wanted to get something in front of you to get some feedback if any of these look
Rocket.
Rocket.
Yeah.
We didn't get a good
really cool.
We didn't get a good concept put together with that, but I think you could.
Brian, are there any other color options for that one?
Yeah, there are. In any of these, there are different color options.
I like colors on it, but yeah, I didn't know much cool.
Any other opinions?
Well, I was gonna add the little park benches that the rocket one here has shade over the top, which I would think would be a really nice idea.
Yeah,
that's
On the survey, shade and benches
That's a
were the
big
2
thing.
most important
Yeah.
amenities.
Yeah.
I think that one's really cool. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Space, you call it.
Yeah, the space. Yeah.
When they design these playgrounds, what actual age group are they aiming at?
Yeah, great question, Tom. So we
48.
48
to 65.
I'm on it. Right? Yeah, so that's a great point. Great question. I wish I brought it. But this actually has equipment that covers 4 different. Actually, all 3 of these cover 4 different of their age groups, if you will. So you got don't quote on it, they break it down like that: 2 to 5, 6 to 10, 11, 15 age range. So this does have equipment. That was one of the things that we put in there in that preferences was to kind of cover that broad spectrum of all ages, kids and children. So it does have equipment that covers each of those, and I can certainly give you those details. I forgot to bring them tonight, but we have that laid out for all that. Yeah, good question.
And on that last design, the swing set, there's only 4 swings, no like child restraint type seat.
Oh, yep. And
I like to see.
Yep.
That's just my activity at the parks here recently.
Yeah, I agree.
At least 2 of those.
Yeah. And that's easy to change out because your structure's the same. You have many different options there, whether it's more, ADA handicap accessible or more childlike, infant stage, absolutely.
Are we talking about putting this approximately where the one was?
That was
Yeah.
the intent.
Yeah, it's similar in nature, yeah. So we looked at that, I didn't have it in front of you today, but obviously we bring it back to you. But we've done some different layouts there, trying to preserve the trees that are in place there too and work around those. Obviously, again, a shade item and just keeping those as is. So yeah, it kind of fits in there a little bit, keeps a little bit maybe north of where they were before to some of that equipment, but yes.
Yeah, I was gonna also ask what the footprint
Yeah,
is gonna be on that.
yeah.
Probably the next thing.
Yep, I would bring that back. Yeah, I had it in front of me actually this morning, was reviewing it. I think put together based on this equipment layout, wanted to make sure we kind of had which pieces of equipment or which option was preferred, then we'll certainly bring that back with that.
Well, the reason I asked that is, it's hard to believe now that area does what, about once every 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How well that soft surface hold up.
Yeah, and that's one reason we had to kind of push a little further north too, because we're up a little higher in that topography as we get up towards the pickleball courts more. So it's helping the drainage away from it, as well as staying up higher in terms of any flooding situations. So yeah, so no, it can.
In case you ever wanted like context and things, but like typically floodplains are the place for parks to be developed because it's a lot easier to replace a baseball diamond than as a house or something like that. So where, flooding, if it happens, it's often we know it's going to flood, so we can design to maybe withstand that. But as far as where we strategically locate parks in our communities, if there's a difference between developable land or a floodplain is usually the more fitting location for it.
Did you ever get a chance to look at that, the red color down here?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I thought, to be honest, I thought the color of this holding pretty solid to what was originally proposed. But we did look at it. We actually talked to the contractor and the warranty, and did just have some discussions on that in case so desired.
Well, I understand it's not big.
Yeah,
Pay a little more, sure.
but it's something to, again, as we think about that going further with colors, what we're looking at choosing, certainly something to keep in mind. Yeah. Any other opinions, options that seem to be kind of the same direction, everybody? We could take that and lay that out and bring that back to you and show you what that looks like. Awesome. Great. Appreciate that. That's super helpful. We will do that. I'll take that for you here next. Other than that, the only thing was I do have a bound copy of the CIP plan for you, Cole. I brought one just for you to review. If everything looks good, I'll get copies for everybody here this week. I'm going to make sure that was good first before I made all those bound copies. But
We'll have to review at our next P&Z meeting, and then if that would then be a recommendation to adopt it, get it back to city council and get that done.
You back up.
Yeah.
What's the lead time on construction?
Yeah, on Hall Park. Yeah. We did lay out a little preliminary schedule internally. We were talking about that the other day of, I guess our thought or intent was to get this constructed, started construction yet this fall, if that was still late summer, fall, if that was
I'd
still
say
the
it would probably follow a similar schedule to like the pickleball courts,
Yes.
where it'd be
Correct.
later summer. And we noted that there's probably going to be some grass establishment issues that we run
That'll
into.
be the only question or concern is, we did that.
There's a lot of grass.
Yeah, I think we've been looking at that too, Ryan, to make sure, again, another way where we're positioning that a little further up the hill, but,
I think the glass was more towards like the stage area.
Correct. East, but you never know.
I know, you never know. I know, we've said that too, right?
It was obviously a no.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're in, if anything, more fill conditions than we are cutting anywhere. So we're trying to place it somewhere more fill conditions than cutting. But yeah, I think the intent would be to, unless I hear differently, to get this constructed this fall.
I think that's
Yeah.
the intent for us.
Perfect. We'll rock and roll. Okay. Any other questions?
Anything else, Brian?
You could have gave me warning that Edgar was going to be back. But Thank you, appreciate it.
We'll send you that. We'll catch up.
All right, you guys ready to meet? I'll burn it. All right, so, first thing, we have an Iowa DOT 20E agreement. This would be for, let's see, years 2026, through 2031. And this is a maintenance agreement establishing what is the DOT responsible for maintaining, what are we as a city responsible for, just because there's a shared jurisdiction here. And I guess overall, we are responsible for any kind of like crosswalks, storm sewers, bike lanes, anything like that. It's on the side curb. If say there's curb and gutter on 22, and it gets hit by a snow plow and chipped out, we are responsible for repairing that. They're responsible for clearing of snow. They're responsible for the surfacing itself, any kind of signage and line work on the road. But it's fairly standard. It's no different than how we currently practice. I've talked to some other cities, and unfortunately, I'm not sure that this is necessarily there's any kind of point of negotiation on any of this. I think it's kind of set in as this is what we're responsible. This is what they're responsible for. But yeah. Bless you.
Bless you.
All right.
Do you guys have any specific questions about this 20?
Yeah, who sends that to you?
Who specifically at the DOT?
Yeah. Do they respond to emails? Yeah, because we can't get anybody else at the DOT to respond to us. Can we get this person in here?
Potentially, she's the engineering office assistant in District 5, if that's the same thing. But
You know what I want?
I have ideas to address it.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's probably no reason to talk about this. It is what it is. So I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-31.
Second. Any discussion?
Yeah, my question is there any changes?
this is currently how we operate. So it's
Okay.
like I said, we paint the crosswalks. We don't put up any signs out there along the DOT right of way. We're responsible for curb and gutter and stormwater drains, all that stuff. It's how we practice right now. So there's
Okay, I just want to make sure there was any changes to the last one. The other thing I have is the stoplight out there. I mean, what agreement?
that's ours.
Okay,
And we can talk about that later.
okay, no, that's okay. I just didn't know if it had anything to do with this.
No, we'll be responsible for maintaining that as well.
Okay, no problem, thanks.
Any other discussion? All right, if not, we'll take a roll call vote on this as well. Grinstead. Aye. Schneider.
Aye.
Sexton.
Aye.
Keeney. Aye. Rogers.
Aye.
Okay, that's approved.
All right, next thing, there's a typo on, so the ordinance that we adopted the last city council meeting for the fireworks. So the typo was, the property and damage insurance level said 50,000, it needed to be at 500,000. Like I said, simply a typo, of course, because that's a numerical interpretation, it's a bit more than a clerical correction. It actually changes the substantive meaning of the requirements. We have to bring it back for to be adopted. So in this case, because it's simple, I think we would just approve the first reading of this and then go and waive the requirements of 383 and adopt it effective immediately. So those are two different motions, but like I said, the only change here is going from 50,000 to 500,000 for a package, which is what our old section, had, so no changes there.
I'll make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 2026-03.
Okay, any additional discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote for that. Robertson.
Aye.
Key. Sexton. Schneider.
Aye.
And Rockford. Grinstead.
Aye.
All right, that is, first reading is approved. We have a motion to waive the second. We'll make that a motion. Second. Okay, any discussion? All right, we'll come back this way then. Grinstead.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Sexton. Key.
Aye.
And Robertson.
Aye.
All right.
Perfect. You guys ready for the next one?
Yep.
All right, so we have an ordinance here for liquor licenses and wine and beer permits. Our current ordinance is more restrictive than state law, which means a couple of years ago there was a state law change that allowed alcohol sales to begin at 6 p.m. on all days of the week. Before there was 6 a.m. Did I say p.m.? I meant a.m. Anyways, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. every day of the week. Prior to that, it was 8 a.m. on Sundays. This is just bringing it into compliance with what the state allows. Other than that, you'll see where it's in 125, 120.52, you'll see all the caveats of days a week for different holidays and all of that. It just strikes it to, you can go 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. any day of the week. So, other than that, there's also, they changed where they're cited in Iowa code. So, fairly minor change here. It would just, this applies to everyone who sells alcohol, whether it be, Casey's or Dollar General for retail, or say the casino or La Chiva as a whore there. So this would bring on compliance.
And then in your check and tell me the correction.
Second that also. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, let's take a roll call vote for that first reading. Robertson.
Aye.
Key. Sexton.
I know what your priorities are.
All right, we have a motion to waive the second and third readings.
I'll make a motion to waive the second, third reading.
All right, motion by Robertson, second by Sexton. Any discussion? Hearing none. Grinstead. Aye. Schneider.
Aye.
Sexton. Key. Robertson.
All right, a couple more things here, guys. All right, second to last here, I have a setting public hearing for fiscal year 2026 budget amendments. We have 3 of them here. So the first one, general government for $60,000. Again, this isn't necessarily we're going to spend all of this, but this is approving our spending threshold, raising that. So the changes here are reflective of the unbudgeted hire of a deputy clerk. We also have a replacement of the city hall roof that was not budgeted for $18,000. We also needed to readjust our health insurance premiums, where I previously budgeted using kind of a year adjustment, but our staffing has changed, and therefore our health insurance use has changed. And then we also have used our city attorney more often. So that would be the adjustment there. The other adjustment we have is capital projects, and that is the amount of $309,751. And that adjustment is based off of, so all of our, how do I put this? Wellness center, all of that was unbudgeted because by the time when we adopted this budget last year, we didn't know our design costs and had to move forward with all of that. We also I adjusted this, so, I budgeted for like, city facilities, security and access control that we didn't move forward with. So that freed up some additional, I guess, authorized, expenditures there, so we don't have to adjust it for all of this, but, there was also, I, had budgeted a fire apparatus, reserves out of there, which I shouldn't have. So I moved that out of there into these transfers, which I'll go into here in a second. But we also, there was, actually, yeah, so that's capital projects there. And the last one is transfers, and that's an amount of $590,830. And so that includes $126,750 for the fire department apparatus, move that out of the capital projects to there. We also have a transfer from special revenues to capital projects, and that was to cover Hall Park pickleball court projects and the Chairneck Street Extension project. So those expenditures were already budgeted in capital projects, but we needed to move funds to cover that. And then, let's see here, that was, yeah, all of the transfers. So then that also leaves us space for all of our other transfers. So special revenue to wellness center, that gives us our general to fire, our special to fire, special to general, all of those that we still have to complete. But that gives us basically the remaining authorized transfers and expenditures to cover the rest of the fiscal year. So all in all, any questions on budget amendments? So we'll have a public hearing on the 22nd. You'll be able to consider it after that, and I'll get it certified in the county, and we'll be done there. So all in all, that's the budget amendments.
I made a motion to pass resolution 2026-32, set the date for public hearing on proposed 2026 budget amendments, June 22nd, 2026.
A lot of twos, a lot of sixes.
Second.
It's in by Robertson, any discussion? If not, we'll take a motion to approve, or take a vote to approve. Winstead, Schneider,
Aye.
Sexton, Key, and Robertson.
Aye.
The chunk is done. All right, the last thing I have for you tonight, we have 3 responses to our fiscal year 2026 audit RFP. One was from the state auditor's office. They do not have the capacity to take us on, so they responded to denial. The other 2, we have a proposal from the firm that we've worked with for the last several years, Bellencoon. So they're a little more expensive than the other proposal, which is Anderson Larkin out of Ottumwa. One of the considerations or questions I asked each of the firms was, what is your ability to, I guess, your start date on the audit? The reason why that question answer is important is because for issuing our bond, we didn't have 3 years of audited financials. We currently have 2. Fiscal year 26 would be our 3rd. So in order for us to get the highest bond rating, we do need to have 3 years of audited financials. So getting this audit done as soon as possible so that we are ready for the actual bond rating process and bond issuance process potentially could save us tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest over the next 15 years with that bond. So because of that, I guess Promo, Bellencoon have been quite slow. I enjoy working with them, but they've been quite slow. Anderson Larkin did give us the ability that they would be able to start, I think it was as early as end of August. So they'd be able to do kind of a quicker turnaround for us. Anderson Larkin is also a bit cheaper as well. So they're all-inclusive maximum fee out of pocket would be $12,750, and And then comparison to GBK, who, give me one moment here.
Cool.
Yes,
The one you want is cheaper.
yes,
Okay,
and
that's great.
quicker, and they have good references, so I'm happy with Anderson Larkin.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve resolution 2026-33. Resolution to award the contract for fiscal year 2026 audit services to Anderson Larkin.
Not to exceed 12,750.
Second. Any discussion? What, just quick, I see the letterhead is Anderson and Whitney, what's the difference between that and Anderson Larkin?
Honestly,
One more partner.
not sure. So I don't know if it's like Anderson Whitney owned or it's like a owner of it because it says the shareholders are Anderson Larkin and Co. PC. So we really, it actually notes a reference letter. Actually, sorry.
I believe that's a letter of reference
Yeah.
for Anderson and Larkin.
So it says report on the firm system of quality control.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
How much is that again, not to exceed?
12,750, which we budget for more than that as well, so I think that's good. All right. I guess a roll call vote, I think, yeah.
Any other discussion? Not, we'll take a vote. Rogerson.
Aye.
Key. Sexton. Schneider.
Aye.
And Grinstead.
Aye.
Good, that is approved. Anything else on the city administrator's report?
No, but before we get to closing comments, I had a couple things I do want to mention. So, first and foremost, I want to thank Chris. We have sincerely appreciated your time on city council. Definitely be sad to see you leave, but also leave the community. I mean, hopefully we still see you around and make sure you're gonna still walk on the trail and stuff like that, but thank you, Chris. My other thing is, next city council meeting, we will be addressing our garbage and recycling collection. We have definitely have had some service issues, especially this week, but certainly in the last few weeks as well. And I think we have a long-term solution to correcting this, so. Anyways, those are my two, I think major updates for you guys. I did send out a list of all the wellness center, starting a list of some wellness center, stuff to help out with. So those of you that have replied, sincerely appreciate it. So.
Closing comments, Chris, you want to kick us off?
I enjoyed working with all of you. Just wish it was longer. I wish I could have.
Get out of
It feels bad. No, I feel bad.
The meeting?
And he put the pressure on me at the end. I accept your apology for that. But no, it's been great. I wish this city's always been. It's been a lot. I always consider this when I point it out. So it's tough. It's tough.
I just want to thank Chris, yeah, I've enjoyed and we all have a crystal ball, but we don't, so things change.
Yeah, thanks, Chris, for this short term here, but I didn't even allow him to make the motion in a second.
Tom, I can't do that. It's asked you one.
I made the motion to adjourn.
Let's see.
Get out here.
Thank you, Chris, and welcome back.
We have a motion to adjourn, we have a second. Second by Sexton, all those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned at 7:49. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Ed. You're
I
I'll be breakfast.
None of all this stuff.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know, right?